Welcome to Recovering Addict. I am LT, your host, and I'm an alcoholic addict.
I'm Felice, co-host of this show, married to this guy, and I love him.
Yeah, so if you're. Oh, Link, you got to talk here. They can't
I'm Link, the co-host. Well, co-host. I am son of these two people.
hear you. That's our son.
There's
Man,
our
he had a tough time getting
baby.
that one out. But it's okay.
It's my
We're all
Coco,
here.
my
It's
Coco host.
Thursday night. We got the co host, the co host, and everything is great. Two times in my life. If this is the first time you're watching it, or if maybe you're watching it on a replay, just know I have the experience of being a pathetic addict, rock bottom addict. I hit rock bottom twice in my life in the early 2000s with meth. I ended up getting a felony. I spent a year locked up and 3 years probation. Later in my 30s, thinking, not knowing or understanding anything that I learned or didn't learn, and for that matter of fact, in my early 20s, I started drinking socially, occasionally, and became a fifth a night blackout drunk and gallons on the weekend. And then I had to check myself into detox. And I spent 5 months in an IOP, and now I'm still in an IOP, more integrated in this one, and going through their course to learn their style. But I'm actually working here now. It's called SOAR, School of Addiction Recovery. This is where headquarters for Recovering Addict is upstairs in their studio, my studio. And we run a podcast on Saturday nights from there as well. So you got to tune into their podcast, which is really awesome, every Saturday morning at 10:30. So all you from people from UK can tune into that one. A great recovery podcast. I pop in and out of that one, but I am not the main voice of that show. It's Dustin Hawkins and guests. Tonight we got a good show for you. We're going to get into our book. The book we are going through right now is It Will Never Happen to Me. Pick up where we left off from yesterday. I want to read out of our Kindle for September 3rd. I think it's a really good one. And then something we haven't done for a while, just to make sure we're all on track, is to take our inventory, make sure our character defects, make sure we're on the road to recovery. Remember, you're either on the road to recovery or you're on the road to relapse. And maybe you're not even on any road yet. You're just still in active addiction. And if that's the case, pay attention to these character defects. Pay attention to this Kindle reading because it's about excuses. What excuses are you making to not get sober and get onto this road to recovery? Because 100%, 1 year later, your life is going to be completely different for the better. I didn't say it was going to be easy, though, but it will get better. So with that, I think I was going to turn it over and let Felice say hi to everybody.
Can I have it in the mouth? That one.
Sure.
Is that one all the way dead?
It was.
Here we go. So we're gonna start with Merc. He's our winner tonight. First one in the chat.
Merkalicious.
We love him.
I noticed everybody was getting their bookmarks. I love it.
Yeah. You guys loving those? Cherie, welcome. And Nicole Swanson, welcome on Facebook side. Dwight, hello.
Hey, Dwight.
Hey, Christine. Mark
Christine.
Davies, what is up?
Hey, Mark.
Desmond with the coffee and donuts in the hero.
G'day, mate.
Hello tomorrow, Desmond.
Check it out. Nathan's in here. What's up, bruv?
What's up, Nathan?
Yeah. Love that dude.
Nathan in the house. We got Teeter.
Michael Teeter. You know I love you, bro.
LT, Asia said, and I quote, that's you were fighting.
Andrew, I didn't get a text or a picture of like breakfast in bed or anything that you cleaned. So what have you done? Teeter won the challenge. What did you do, bro?
Hello,
Sword
Sky. Hey, peeps, 60 seconds. Now we here. Raylene, hello. Amanda, what is up?
Amanda.
Ah, there's Nicole Swanson.
Oh,
Glad
sweet.
you're here. Glad. And Petey, hello. Recovering addict family. What is up, Kyle?
Kyle, what's up, brother? How you doing?
Oh, Josh Beam, there you are.
Josh,
Yo,
what's
family.
up, bro?
What's up, man? We're doing good. Tierra Barnes.
Tiebra.
Austin
Hey, there's my homie,
Hass.
Austin. What's up, brother? Tell
Tuning
everybody
in
I
on my
said
break.
hi and give Rick a hug for me. And I know you're going to do great giving your little presentation about SOAR, bro. You got it in you. I feel it.
Hey, David. Glad you're here. Share squad.
Yeah, share squad. Thank you. Let's get some share squads in there. Hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already.
Oh, there you are again. Marilyn, hello. And the mayor's daughter.
Howdy.
Howdy, mayor's daughter. That's everybody.
That's
so far.
everybody. All right. So let's get into the September 3rd AA thought of the day out of the 24-hour a day. This is a good one. So offer new prospects. This is talking about people who have been in recovery, and you're talking to somebody that's not in recovery, okay? And if you're not in recovery, maybe you should listen because you may be having these excuses. So offer prospects friendship and fellowship. Tell them that if they want to get well, you will do anything to help them, and be honest and sincere about it. And trust me, it does feel good. So burn the idea into the consciousness of the new prospects that they can get well, regardless of anyone else. Job or no job, bruv, you listening? You can get well. Job or no job, spouse or no spouse, they cannot stop drinking as long as they place dependency on other people ahead of dependency on God. So let no alcoholic say that they cannot recover unless they have their family back, or interject any excuse you would. I can't recover unless, whatever your excuse is, that's a bunch of garbage, hoopla. You can. So that's just isn't so, it says. Their recovery is not dependent upon other people. It is dependent on their own relationship to God, to a higher power, right? So as a prospect, this is the question for you. Can I recognize all excuses made by prospects? Can you recognize them? And here's the meditation of the day. The spiritual life depends upon the unseen. To live the spiritual life, you must believe in the unseen. Try not to lose the consciousness of God's spirit in you and in others. As a child in its mother's arms, stay sheltered in the understanding and love of God. God will relieve you of the weight of worry and care, misery and depression, want and woe, faintness and heartache, if you will let him. That's a promise, y'all. If you let go and you trust, you are promised to get relieved of your weight, your worry, your care, your misery, your depression, your weight, your want and woe, your faintness in your heart, your heartache. If you let him. If you let him, that's a promise. So lift up your eyes from the earth's trouble and view the glory of the unseen God. Each day try to see more good in people, more of the unseen in the seen. Look for the unseen in the seen. Look for the good in people. Next time you run into somebody, I challenge you this. Remember, my challenge is always, hey, leave somebody better off for having been in your presence. Here's a good strategy to do that. As soon as they're talking, I mean, you're actively listening, but you're also subconsciously, you're on the side kind of looking for a place to interject a positive comment. What's that called? When you give somebody a positive compliment. Look for a place to interject a compliment to somebody. All right, so here's the prayer of the day. I pray that I may rest and abide in the presence of the unseen God. I pray that I may leave my burdens in his cares. What do you guys think about that?
I like it. PD and Kyle got their bookmarks also.
All right.
And your mama's in the chat. Hi, Grandma T.
Hi, Mom.
Lori made it. Glad you're here. Lee made it. Glad you're here. Let's see. Raylan, I liked. Oh, compliment. 10 now. Oh, thanks, Cherie. She's getting them likes in there.
Oh, thank you.
Y'all listen to her.
Thursday night's usually a slow night for people that follow or people that tune in. What?
You should like flip flop them.
Why?
So that it looks like I'm looking at the camera instead of over in the corner. And then you can still see it here too.
Yeah, we could do that.
See, now I'm looking this way. Now I'm looking at you guys.
So if you haven't noticed, we used to have our camera like an upshot and down, and now I got a new tripod, so I'm able to wiggle it in between, right between my two monitors. So I got a monitor here. And now our chat was clear over here,
Yes,
so now
I'm
I
like
moved it over here. So when we're
looking
reading
over
the
in the
chat, we
corner.
don't have to look. We can look you right in the eyes, just like this. Yo, bruv, it's me.
Yeah, now I'm looking this way instead of like way over here. You just see half my face.
Anthony, thank you very much. I'm glad you're a part of the live stream right now, and thank you for the compliment. Let us get to know you. What brought you upon recovery? What is your thoughts, and where are you at in recovery? You in active? I'm not saying you are. I'm just asking. Get to know you. Are you in active addiction? Looking for support? Or you got years of sobriety under your belt? Let us get to know you a little bit, brother. Thanks for watching. I'm really glad you're here.
My friend Austin commented too.
Yes, the Zooms are amazing. Cherie, you're blowing my mind with this. So Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard. That's Utah time. So if you go west, that's California. It's going to be 5. And the further east you go, it's going to be an hour and then 2, right? 7 and then 8. If you're way out east, it's 8 o'clock. And if you're in Australia, it's 10 a.m. tomorrow. But it's amazing. So there's a Zoom meeting for every day. We now have live streams 3 nights a week. And we also have we actually have Zoom meetings 7 days a week now. So Monday through Friday at 6 Mountain Standard Time, and then Saturday at 3 p.m. and Sunday at 6. Sunday at 6 is more of a spiritual one. It's where we're getting our brains rattled with philosophy, looking at what the heck is a higher power and all that kind of good stuff. It's really fun to think about and argue in a positive way. But I love it. So I'm glad y'all are here.
Glad you're here, Courtney Martin.
Courtney Martin's up in the house. Bruv's up in the house. Nicole Swanson. I love it.
Oh, David put a whole bunch of pepper in his clam chowder.
Where?
Because the lid fell off.
Oh, that's not cool.
Oh, just kind of scoop it out with a spoon.
Hi, Erlene Carroll.
Erlina.
Hi, nice to meet you. Nice to see you.
Hey, Tracy.
Where's Tracy?
Right.
There's Tracy. What's
Mrs.
up, Tracy?
Hovel.
Hello, husband, John Hovel. Right on. She's at work still watching. All right. That's cool, Deanna. Thank you.
Nicole has 6 years.
6 years and just lost my fiance. Oh, man. I'm sorry.
Lost as in died?
Oh, man. I'm so sorry to hear that. Yeah. Was it an OD? Let us know what happened.
Or like you
we'll definitely keep you in our prayers for 100% sure. Well, you guys, I have something special kind of planned out tonight, and it wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for this awesome dude I'm about to tell you about. But a lot of you have a problem with step 9, right? Making amends, a little bit more than saying sorry, isn't it? Walking up to somebody and maybe grimacing that you might get smacked right up in the mouth. And it's understandable. We did some horrible things in our past, things that we are ashamed of. But remember, we don't want to bring shame. We want to turn that shame into guilt, because guilt we can do something about. We can get over it and we can start rebuilding our lives. So I've invited Frank from SOAR. He's the manager. Some of you have seen the videos we've been putting out. He's the one that gave us that meditation video, really helpful video. He's going to come on here for a few and let us know what he's done with step 9 and a huge amends that he has made. So I'm going to welcome Frank to the show right now. What up, Frank? How you doing, brother?
How's it going? Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I hear you perfectly.
Frank.
Looking good. And you smell good.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Smell like patchouli.
Jumps right off the screen, huh?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, yeah, thanks for having me on the show. It's good, and I love what you guys are doing. And I haven't tuned into a whole lot of them live, but just watching your channel and everything, it's just cool having this discourse and a platform where, it's different than just having a podcast. When you're doing it live, you can answer questions, interact with people, and that's so much more helpful. So, I love what you guys are doing with this.
Oh, thank you, brother. Appreciate that. I love being here with you too.
No, for sure. So yeah, step 9 is a difficult one, but I think it's integral to obviously the 12 steps, but I'll just speak for myself, for my sobriety and my recovery. Because I honestly think the way that I got sober was, I got introduced to Dustin and War, which is now called SOAR, but the main thing that helped was me doing the steps, and going through all of them with basically the how of it, the honesty, the open-mindedness, and the willingness to do it. And those are indispensable. But yeah, so writing, I'll start a little bit with step 8. So writing just the list of all persons that I had harmed, and then being willing to make amends to that all. That was kind of hard because my sponsor at first had me write down on the front piece of paper, all the people I was willing to, and on the back, all the people I wasn't willing to. And I was like, okay, this will make it a little easier. And then I did that assignment. He's like, all right, great. Well, no matter what, you're making amends to all of them. Just to kind of separate it in your head. I'm like, okay, great. Thanks. But that part's hard, because obviously there's going to be a bunch that you're not willing to do, whether it's familial or an old spouse or a financial amends, whatever the case may be. And getting the courage and asking your higher power to help you have the courage to be willing is important. And in some of them, obviously, it's not appropriate to make an amends if that would harm them or harm others. And that's something that I think you want to be careful with it, because you don't want to use that as an excuse to hide from making it. But maybe if you examine it, you reflect on it, you pray on it, and you ask several people, you ask your sponsor, other people in sobriety. And if most people are yeah, I think, this might be harmful or create more issues, then yeah, it's probable that you shouldn't do that. But regardless, when I started doing steps 8 and 9, maybe it was about 7 months into my sobriety. I did it a little differently this time, and I took the steps slower, making sure that each one I was doing it thoroughly, because I had plenty of experience with this 12 steps before getting sober this time. So my sponsor and I wanted to make sure I like approached it a little bit differently. It wasn't kind of just going through the motions, if that makes sense, right? I was examining each step. Like my 4th step, I didn't do it traditionally with like 4 columns. Like each resentment, I wrote out 3 pages of it and like got deep into this drives my decision, that this, which is behind my delusions, that this, which drives my actions, which this. Like we went this whole, I don't know, like outside the box therapist route with it, but I thought it was cool. And anyway, so yeah, it took me about 7 or 8 months to get to step 9. And then when I did, I made a lot of ones like close to me, I guess ones that are like easy, quote unquote, just ones to family members, you know, siblings, cousins, people around me, which aren't necessarily easy, but they're accessible. And I felt like I was ready and had enough of a foundation to be able to do that. And some of the ones I put off longer were these big financial amends that I had, which was really scary because I was putting myself in a position to, you know, a vulnerable position. One of them, when I was in my active addiction, there was a mall here close to where I live and where I was using, which at night, I went to this active construction site right by the mall and I stole a bunch of power tools and I pawned them. And so this one is like one that I knew I had to make. And I'd basically been sober enough, saved up a little bit of money. I got a check for like $1,000. And I went down to this mall and it took me like 10 minutes or 20 minutes to even find who to ask. Like I went into one office, they're like, oh, the office is over there. And I went there. They're like, no, it's back in that other building on the 9th floor. And so I finally found like the manager of the land and the property. And I told the receptionist what was happening. She's like, can I help you? I was like, yeah, so I've harmed you guys. I stole a bunch of stuff from here in the past, and I'm here to try to make that right. She's like, okay, let me make a call. And she like called someone and like explained what was going on. And like, she's like, you can just sit down here and wait. So I sat down, and then 5 minutes later, this guy came up with a suit and he had like a security guard next to him who was like, had keys dangling and he was like thumbing his baton and stuff. And I was like, he's like, so what's going on? I was just like, had to explain it all again. So like, you know, a few years ago, I was in the midst of a heroin addiction, and that doesn't excuse my actions, but I just wanted to explain that I stole some stuff from this property and I wanted to make it right. And I explained that there was a construction site. I stole power tools, and he remembered. And he said, well, that wasn't us and that wasn't our property. We had contracted with the subcontractor to do this. So let me call them and see how they want to handle it. So he gets this property or construction manager on the phone, this project manager, and explains the situation to him. The guy wants to talk to me. And I talked to the guy, explain everything again. And he's just like, I want to like, you know, let you know I appreciate what you're doing. And I actually have several years sober myself. And the best way you can pay me back is like, I don't want this money. I want you to deposit this check into your savings again and just keep being sober and trying to help other people. So that was an amazing experience. And it's cool, like going into it and not having that expectation, like it's going to be okay, but just having things work out and like, you know, the situation and God being, you know, just in my favor, I guess. And also like bringing light into other people's lives. So it's like, I went and I did this and I kind of sacked up and made this amends where it's like, you know, they could have called the cops or, you know, the $1,000 was just the tip of the iceberg. All these like power tools and drills and everything was probably worth way more than that. And so they could have asked me to pay it all back, which would have been fine in their prerogative. But even just me making the attempt and like going down there in person with money and, you know, explaining what I was doing, like made their days like more than anything else. Right. And so I got off the phone with him, and then the property manager of the mall and the security guard both like 3 or 4 times were like, I can't believe you're doing this. Like, we've never had anyone do anything like this. And like, this is the coolest thing. And so that was a pretty great experience. The next one, which was kind of similar, was during the midst of my addiction, probably a few months after I stole the power tools, I actually broke into someone's house. And this was like towards the end of my addiction when things were getting ugly and I was homeless. I was living in the back of my truck. And I knew this house was empty and I knew that this doctor owned it. But basically I broke in through the back window, went in, I stole a computer, and I stole a bunch of jewelry from upstairs too. I stole like a pearl necklace and a diamond necklace and you know, I don't know the value of any of this stuff, but I'm guessing it's anywhere from like $2,000-3,000 to like $10,000 to $15,000, you know, worth of stuff. And God, I didn't even end up pawning it. I like gave it to my dealer, and he said he was going to hang on to it, and then like we were going to pawn it together. And then that night he like flipped his car and got arrested. So I ended up like just totally losing it. I got like one little balloon of heroin out of it. Whatever, that's beside the point. But like, so this was a huge thing that I was doing.
I think you're cute, Frank.
Oh my God, that's funny. How's it going? So this amends I didn't even make until earlier this summer, which was like just right after I got 2 years sober. And it wasn't that I was putting it off necessarily, but I kind of got stagnant in the amends process, like felt good. Then I just was living my life. And then, you know, every once in a while I'd think, oh, I haven't completed all of my amends yet. And this would come up, and then a little fear would come into it, but I'll be like, oh, I'll do it at a more appropriate time. And then finally I realized, like, you know, I can't just have my sobriety rely on, you know, someone said something like, you know, chewing on like the bones of things I did a month ago, right? Like I have to do things every day to stay spiritually fit, to enhance my spiritual condition, and to progress in this process. So I was finally ready to do that. And it took me a little bit to find like the doctor and how to even approach the situation. Like, should I look up where she lives? Because she lives in a new house. But then I was like, no, that's weird and kind of an invasion of privacy. But then even showing up to her office where she works, like, you know, might be weird too. And just laying all this on her, you know, at her expense, just so I can feel better, isn't necessarily right too. So what I ended up doing was like going into her office towards the end of the day when she didn't have to see a lot of patients. I had written like a 3-page letter explaining everything. I had a check in there too. And I went to the office, and I had to wear a mask and everything because of COVID. I talked to the receptionist. I was like, I'd like to see Dr. So-and-so. And she's like, what's this regarding? Are you a new patient? I'm like, not really. Like, it's best if I just speak with her personally. It's about a private matter. And she's like, okay, you know, sit in the waiting room. And then 10 minutes later, this nurse practitioner comes out and says, what would you like to see the doctor for? And I basically had to explain, well, I've harmed her in the past, and I don't even know if she knows it, but I'd like to make this right. And the nurse was like, well, she's not seen anyone for things like that. And I was like, okay, that's fair. Because when I talked to the receptionist, apparently the doctor was booked out for months. You know, she's good at what she does, and she's popular. So in the end, I had to give the nurse this letter in an envelope along with the check. I was like, just please give this to her whenever you can. And I had enclosed like my email address, my home phone, or my cell phone, like everything on there. And in the letter, I basically just explained what had happened, what I did, that I was wrong for doing what I did. Not just like harming her financially and stealing these things, which possibly could have been family heirlooms, but also just stealing her sense of privacy and security. Like, who knows, maybe she could have felt unsafe in her house for months or to this day. And I just like took all that from her, affected her life in, you know, God knows how many ways. So basically I put all that in the letter. I said, like, I know that money won't begin to make up what I've done, but I've enclosed a small check. And I will keep doing my best to send one every month until you believe the debt's paid off. And so I drove home. I kind of forgot about that, like not forgot about what had happened, but my mind went to other things. And then a few hours later, I got this call from a number I didn't know, and I answered it, and it was the doctor. And she said, I received your letter, and I just want to tell you that, like, you don't know how much this means to me. And I was like, she's like, you are the person. I do remember this happening to my house, all this stuff stolen. And I really don't want your money. I just want you to I'm going to rip up this check, and I want you to donate this money to causes that you care about instead. And so I've been doing that these past couple of months, just like $100 here and there, just donating to causes, to nonprofits, to charities, to like relief from the fires in California, hurricane relief, all sorts of things. And it was just cool hearing her reaction. She started tearing up on the phone and crying, and I started tearing. And she just said that she was proud of me for being in recovery, and that I made her whole week for doing this, that she didn't want the money. She just wanted me to keep being sober. Wow. And I thought that was like pretty amazing too. I mean, she started crying, I started crying, and I clearly affected this woman in a positive way after having so negatively affected her, you know, a couple years prior, you know, breaking into her house, stealing jewelry, stealing a computer, all this stuff. And it was just important to me. And I would never like assume or to tell anyone else how to go about things and how to go about their sobriety. But I just want to say it's crucial for me to do these tough things that I was scared of and like not necessarily ready to confront. because, you know, I feel like I had to be willing to go to any lengths and kind of put myself in a position of vulnerability to be like, maybe she won't take this well, and that's totally her right. That's fine. Or maybe she'll call the cops. I even said that in the letter. I was like, if you prefer to call the police, have them handle the situation, like, please do. And she didn't want any of that. She didn't even want the money. She just wanted me to donate to causes that I care about. So I don't know. I thought that was pretty special, and it's been crucial in my recovery. And it's hard to say, you know, people always say like they don't know what thing is keeping them sober, so they'll keep doing it all. And that's kind of how I feel. Like maybe I could have stayed sober without doing these, but at the end of the day, like how free do I want to be? And so I wanted to go to any lengths and be willing to do all these hard things. And it's worked so far, and I'm still sober. And, you know, I don't know what little piece of it is keeping me sober, you know, working at the nonprofit I work at, or working with sponsees, doing my steps, doing my 4th, my 9th step, praying every day, meditating, reaching out to others. So like, you know, I'm not going to put any of that at risk. So I just want to keep doing all of it and continue to make my life as full as I can in terms of recovery.
When I heard you first tell that story, something that really stood out to me, because we always hear that you read it and you're like, unless it brings harm unto them or others, right?
Right.
And that's kind of like, man, a confusing part of it. How, and I
It is.
love the way that you explained what you did before you went and made amends to her by the harm of others. Do you remember that part?
Right.
If you could explain what you did.
Oh yeah. So essentially, before I made these amends, I asked people close to me if it was okay if I did this. So I'm going to be having like a child this fall. So I asked the mother of my child, hey, is it okay with you if I make this amends? Because it potentially could put me in a position of risk. You know, I could go to jail, I could catch a charge, whatever. And I also asked like the founder of the nonprofit I work at. He's like kind of like my boss. And I was like, hey, is it okay with you if, you know, I do this? Because I don't know what'll happen, but it potentially could put me at risk, my position here, and like the nonprofit at risk. And is it okay with you if I do this? And they both said like, absolutely. So I went ahead and did it. But if either one of them said no or had questions about it, like I wouldn't be necessarily willing to do it because it would put other people at harm. And that wasn't always clear. And it's hard to know how to proceed in these situations. So I don't think there's necessarily a right answer. I just did it as best as I could. I bounced it off people, not just my sponsor, but other people in the program that I trust, even with how to approach it. Like, should I write it and send a letter? Should I try to show up at her doctor's office? Like, what should I do? And, you know, what came back through that and through my prayer and meditating on it was basically the best way I could, which is like go to her office, you know, towards the end of the day when she doesn't have a whole work day ahead of her, try to see her. And if not, you know, leave a letter. And that's exactly what ended up happening.
Brilliant, dude.
Yeah.
I love it. You got people tearing up in our audience. Sky says she's tearing up.
It's hard, man. It was emotional. It made the doctor tear up. It made me tear up. And it was just cool, like seeing the promises of the program work out.
Yeah, PD says, thank you for sharing, Frank. Things you're saying are happened in my life just as you're explaining it. It feels extremely wonderful for those persons to be receptive of us in such a positive way.
Right. No, it is amazing. And I think one thing that's important to point out is not to have expectations about your amends, because these could have gone into like a different way and like that would have been okay and like the way it's meant to be, you know? So it's like, just because I've had these experiences doesn't mean that like you can, oh, I'm going to go out and make amends to people and like they're going to be great. And I'm so glad you're sober. And that's that. Like, that's not always how it happens. And I've had that happen in my life. You know, I did make an amends closer to me when I was first getting sober. And they were kind of like, cool, I'm glad that you're doing this, but like, I don't really want to talk to you. And I'm like, that's great. You know, like I totally understand. And, you know, once again, I'm sorry for the way I've harmed you. If there is any way I can make this better, please let me know. But yeah, I respect your feelings and your decision. So
awesome, brother.
No, for sure.
Frank, how much freedom have you experienced doing all those amends?
It's hard to explain, but honestly, like a lot of freedom. I felt good before doing them, but like I was saying, sometimes I start feeling a little stagnant in recovery. And it just seems in those moments like, you know, my higher power tees up a ball for me to hit and I just have to have the courage to go hit it, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's really important for me. And I'm just like always trying to do that next right thing, whatever it is. And just clean up my side of the street as best as I can.
Beautiful, brother. Hey man, I appreciate you coming on here and sharing that story. I know everybody got a huge, you have a story that just burns itself in people's consciences and then for the positive. So I love it, man.
No, thanks. I appreciate you having me on and, talking to all these wonderful people and for what you're doing in general. So I
Awesome.
appreciate it, guys.
All right, brother. I'll see you tomorrow.
All right. Sounds good. Take care.
Yeah, later. Wow, that was special, huh?
Yeah, that was cool.
That was a story I wanted to make sure that he told. I was going to try to tell it one time just on my own, but I figured, let's just have him come and tell his story about step 9, making amends. How do you go about it? You check with your sponsor, you look and talk to everybody around you that it could affect, and then you make the amends and leave it in God's hands. He could have went to jail. It sounds like it was some priceless stuff that he stole if he's going to continue to make payments until this lady felt that it was good, right? And then she received it with gratitude and, hey, just donate, man. So that was beautiful. Thank you, Frank, for coming on. And awesome. Well, it's 8:30 now. Let's jump into our book. If y'all remember, we are going through this book, and I told I can't remember what the comment went away.
Nicole?
Was it Nicole? Somebody asked about this book. I can't remember now. We're going through It Will Never Happen to Me by Claudia Black. There are links in the description of this video. I think on Facebook, you look up here. On YouTube, just look down there. Hit see more on Facebook and see more on YouTube, and it'll be in the comments.
I'll put it in the comments too.
45 days clean and sober. Oh, we got a shout out for Naomi Johnson here. She says, I'm so happy I'm completing my treatment. Yeah. I'll be leaving from the Sawyer house on Sunday. Oh, bittersweet, eh?
That's amazing.
I'm going to miss my sisters here at the Sawyer house, and I'll continue to stay in touch. It has been a blessing. Awesome. We wish you the best. Don't stop working your programs. The real world now. This is where it gets real.
Yeah, and keep in touch with everybody here.
Yeah, make sure you stay in touch with us for sure. Reach out. If you're struggling, just reach out. If you're not struggling, reach out.
For everybody who's not in the group, I'm putting the Facebook group and the Discord and all the links in there. So if you don't have them,
amen, Crystal.
Join.
All right. So if you remember, we were talking about reacting to trouble in the family system, right? And we're talking about families that are parents are addicted and active in addiction. And these places of residence are not stable. It says the words that can best describe living in a chemically dependent family are inconsistency and unpredictability. And remember, we talked about the healthy family. In most well-functioning families, one finds emotions being expressed clearly with each person given the opportunity to share his or her feelings, right? It's a family unit. They work together back and forth. But in an unhealthy home, it's a home beset with addiction. Emotions are repressed and become twisted. Emotions are often not shared. And unfortunately, when they are expressed, it's done in judgmental manner and blaming each other. Okay. So remember, we talked about that yesterday. So we're going to continue where we left off there with somebody's quote. It says, everyone was worrying about someone else's feelings and discounting their own. My mother would feel sad and worry about something going on with me. Rather than see it as my mother's sadness and worry, my father wanted me to be different so she wouldn't feel sad or worry. No one wanted to take responsibility for their own problems. They always blamed someone else. And now this part's kind of cool because if you grew up in a house like this, and maybe your parents didn't use drugs or alcohol, because I kind of related to this, and I realized looking back, because I am an addict, I have an addicted thinking, an addicted pattern of thinking. When I got clean off of meth, I smoked pot. Once I got a probation, I smoked weed for a number of years daily while I was working construction. I quit just to get a job that drug tested. And so that's the reason I quit smoking weed. And I just never drink. I can't remember why, if I was just because I was into fitness or what, but I went through a good solid 5 years not drinking or using any substances worse than an ibuprofen. But I still had the addictive thinking, the addicted mindset. So even though I may not have been in an active addiction, I was running a house as a chemically dependent person because that was my mind. I didn't understand recovery. I didn't learn anything when I went to jail and went to the halfway house and was, recovered from meth, because I wasn't. I got out and immediately started smoking weed. And then, later on, I became a blackout drunk. And so even if your parents didn't do drugs, you could have possibly been raised in a house like this. I don't know your situation. While constructive alliances, okay, you know what an alliance is, right? Me and Felice, we're a team and raising kids. We have a constructive alliance. And we're learning this now as we get older. That's what sucks is that you finally figure it out as your kids are old enough to move out. It would be great to have all this understanding before you ever had children. You just kind of learn as you go, and then you kind of get more respect for your parents because that's what they did. And then I believe that they probably look at their parents in the same manner, and it goes on and on and on. And by the time we're old and wise, we die. So we got to respect the wisdom of our elders 100%. So while constructive alliances are part of a healthy family, adult members of addictive family system, they often lack this alliance. If alliances are demonstrated, they are destructive and usually consist of one parent and a child or children against the other parent. So a lot of times, instead of being an alliance as a family, you got mom over here and you got dad and son over here against mom, or how their alliances would be against each other. Families have rules which need to be fair. And you know what? If you think about the alliance, and if you grew up in a family where the family was not an alliance, and you come into recovery, you're bought into recovery, you're sober now, that's what recovery is. You walk into an AA group, you're instantly in this bond of alliance. You go into an IOP, you know the stories. Right now, everybody in the chat and everybody on here, and Frank, and we're all in alliance because we all have the same goals and the same mission now in recovery. We understand. And that's what we didn't have in our childhood, probably. I didn't. And now that's what is so refreshing and rewarding about recovery. Families have rules which need to be fair and flexible. These rules also need to be verbalized, rules such as no hitting, or everyone will have a chance to be heard. That leads to a healthier functioning within the system, right? If you have just clear, definite rules. But in an addictive family structure, rules are usually fueled by shame, guilt, or fear. I underline that part. Rules are usually fueled by shame, guilt, or fear. And I think about my two oldest boys, raising them when I was in an active addiction in the beginning of my drinking. I ruled the house with shame and guilt and fear. That's exactly what I put on them. And I wish I could go back and redo it, but I can't. And then I became a belligerent drunk. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, mom agrees. Yep, 100% mom. So rather than verbalizing rules, which to say there will be no hitting, right? That's a good definite rule. There will be no hitting. In these destructive family types, there are unspoken, silent rules which say you won't tell others how you got that bruise. Instead of no hitting, it's like, hey, you don't tell nobody how you got that bruise. You know what I'm saying? David says, I have two great parents, still married. They are both clean people. However, my mother's parents were bad alcoholics. They both passed before I was born. My mom never drank, but I know. Okay.
But I know it affected.
But I know it affected her greatly in other ways. Yeah. So she lived in the family described, and then she tried to counteract that with her children. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Awesome. Well, everybody, I'm pretty sure y'all know what time it is now. We got a couple special guests tonight. Well, I sound like Kermit the Frog or Yoda, huh? Special guests.
That was Yoda for sure.
Special guest we have. Y'all. Here's Cassie.
Wait. Kermit the Frog. Do you remember Kermit the Frog when he did his newscast? He would start and he would say, "Hi ho, Kermit the Frog here."
Hi ho, Kermit the Frog here.
That was good. Way better than I did it.
Where's Linky? He does a good one too.
Yeah, that was cute. Oh, Linky too. Let me hear Linky. Link, is he there?
Yeah, just knock on the wall. He'll be here.
Kermit the Frog's my favorite.
He does a good Kermit.
That's cute. Do you remember that when he did his newscast on Sesame Street? Okay.
100%.
Do you remember, Felice?
What?
She's too young for.
No. Wait a minute. Wait. Hold it. How old are you, Felice?
She's 29.
I'm not 29.
No, she's not.
I'm 45.
No, you're not. You're definitely not 45 though either. Okay.
I think they got headphones on. They're not coming.
Okay, no worries. Okay, so this quote, it's kind of anonymous. It was just something that I saw online, and I just really liked it. So I think it's fitting for like the times, and I'm excited for it.
All right.
Okay. All right. Okay. I love you. You're probably thinking, you don't even know me. But if people can hate for no reason, I can love.
Oh, that's a good
That's a
one.
good one.
You like
Yeah.
it?
For no reason, I'm gonna love you.
I love her.
Darn it.
No reason.
And just like that. Darn it. And so we're going to put our hands together and we're going to continue to spread that love. Gosh darn it. Take it. Mwah. That's what my mom would do. Sorry. Love you guys.
Love you, bye.
I mean,
Oh, that was a good one. All right, Petey, we're gonna get back to your comment. It was truly awesome, LT. Thank you for getting him in to tell it. Oh yeah, I did the exact same thing in making him in. I prayed about it for months. Finally, just listened and felt like God said, "Okay, it's time," and turned on the same way. No jail, no paying it back. Just pay it forward. Stay clean and sober. He actually messaged me every so often to check on me. Oh, and dude, beautiful.
that's awesome.
Ah, Petey, I love it. Good job. Love you too. Everybody says, Cassie.
Kermit the Frog over the rainbow. What is his song?
Donk, donk, donk.
What's the Kermit the Frog rainbow song?
I don't know. I don't know. Hey, Courtney.
It's like
Sorry,
his
we
most
didn't get to
famous
all these
song.
comments quick enough. Awesome,
The Rainbow
awesome.
Connection. That's what it is.
I can't. I'd sing it to you, but I can't remember. I can't remember.
The Rainbow Connection.
All right. So where were we? Where were we? Okay, right here. So many times there are clearly defined roles within the family. It is typical for adults in the family to divide or share roles of being breadwinner and administrator, right? It's in a good family. Hey, let's share roles. You do this, I do that. We're a team. We're an alliance. We work together. The one who makes the decision within the home, children raised in homes where open communication is practice and consistency of lifestyle is the norm, usually have the ability to adopt a variety of roles dependent on the situation, right? These children learn how to be responsible, to organize, develop realistic goals, play, laugh, and enjoy themselves. They learn a sense of flexibility and spontaneity. They are usually taught how to be sensitive to the feelings of others and are willing to be helpful. These children learn a sense of autonomy and how to belong to groups. Children growing up in addictive homes, however, seldom learn the combination of roles that mold healthy personalities. Instead, they become locked into roles based on their perception of what they need to do to survive and bring stability to their lives. So you got a good, healthy family, right? It's roles, it's open communication. The children jump in, they know their little spot, they're doing their thing, they're talking and learning, right? In an addictive family, every day is different. They walk into the situation, dad's either happy or drunk or angry and drunk, and they're dodging. Whoa, I gotta act like this now. Oh, I gotta survive and do this. Oh, mom's acting like this, So it sets up 4 different kinds of kids. And school counselors, employees in juvenile justice systems, and family service agents often report contact with a high percentage of children from addictive homes. So in all that systems, right? And some of us have been in them. I have to deal with children who live in addictive homes, but there's usually only one type of children they deal with, and it's usually the child that's acting out for attention. It's the one that's making the most noise. It's the one that's getting F's in school. It's the ones that are skipping class and smoking in the hallways, the ones that act out, right? And this leads to 3 different type of children who get overlooked because on appearance, they look good. That's what this little section's called, is looking good. You got the responsible type. You've got the, let me find it so I can say it correctly. You got the responsible child, you got the adjuster, and you got the placater, right? These are roles that allow children to draw either positive attention or no attention to themselves at all. You got the responsible kid, and at school, you're like, man, this kid just handles everything on his own. I have to tell him, he sets nice little goals and he achieves them. Man, there's nothing wrong with that kid. Little do they know that deep inside, he's growing an unhealthy relationship, which will affect him in his adult years. Then the adjuster is more like the middle child who just adjusts, doesn't really say much. And we'll get deep into each one of these roles. Then you got the placater, the overly sensitive one, the one that is always worried about everybody else's emotion and seems selfless. And we'll get into those. Anything in the comments? Here.
Teeter says, I was one of the overlooked kids. As an only child, I ditched school and started smoking ciggies and weed at 17, sneaking shots of rum. That's to Amanda. 32 watching, only 19. Thanks,
Yo,
Mark.
let's hit that like button, y'all. Thank you, Merc.
Amanda says, my family's so messed up. I can't wait to get a little more clean time and make a new life for myself and my kids.
Yeah, this is a great book, Amanda. If you don't have it, as we're going through it, grab yourself a copy and reread it when we're finished here. But I think this book's going to have, it's already, we're not even through chapter 2 yet. And I'm already like seeing crap I feel guilty of in the past. Things I'm implementing now with my 2 children and the wife. And, you know, it's a good book. You got to learn. You got to take the shot to the chest of the past and regrets, swallow them. Don't make it shame, make it guilt, and correct it, right? And that's what I'm doing right here along with all of you. It's not easy, but it's worth it.
Just as I was just a black sheep of the family. Definitely the last one.
I was the acting out. I was kind of, it's like a horoscope. You can kind of apply it to anybody. I felt like I definitely was not the responsible child. I was definitely an adjuster when I lived in Michigan. I just adjusted it. And then I left and then acted out. So I was more of the adjuster. I was more of the middle child, the way that I acted. And then I look at my 4 children, right? And it was funny because usually the oldest kid becomes the responsible child. And our oldest boy, not him, he was more of the adjuster who just kind of like, okay, yep, we're doing this, you know, and my second son became the responsible one. I believe that he's living in this actual, and I wish he was here so we could start correcting these things. But now my oldest boy is the one he's beginning to act out. What do? You just live, right? You live life, you move on, swallow it, talk about it, change what you can. I'm right here with y'all. Merc, I noticed you said was. Is that a proper whatever? Is that an adjective? No, that's not an adjective. Verb?
Noun? Was it person, place, or thing?
Was, Merc? Really? Amanda knows what I'm talking about. An only or oldest child is most likely to be the very responsible child. This child not only assumes a great deal of responsibility for himself, but does so for other family members as well. This is the 9-year-old. Listen to this. If maybe this was you, this is the 9-year-old going on 35, the 12-year-old going on 40. From the onset of addiction in the family, this child has been an adult. It is the 7-year-old putting mom to bed. It's the 9-year-old getting dinner ready every night. The 12-year-old driving dad around because dad's too drunk to drive himself. Or simply the child whose adult-like behavior is compensating for the parent's immaturity. This role is one in which the child seldom misbehaves, but rather takes on many of the household and parenting responsibility for other siblings and very possibly for the parents. That this child's displayed in a lot of movies. I can't think of one off of hand, but you always see the oldest one taking care of the younger kids. That's in the movies. That's the kid we're talking about here, due to the parents' immaturity. Next is the child who usually is not the oldest or the only child. This is the child who does not develop the need to be responsible for himself or others. The need is not as great because there is often an older sibling providing the needed structure in the environment. This middle or younger child finds the best role for him to play is that of the adjuster. That was you, huh? She was the responsible one. Amanda says, that's my oldest kid. I was just a child. Right on.
That was Millie.
So the middle or younger one is the adjuster. For him, it is easier to simply follow directions, handle whatever has to be handled, and adjust to the circumstances of the day. This coping pattern allows the child to appear more flexible, more spontaneous, and possibly more selfish than others at home. And now the third pattern within this increasingly chaotic home life is that of the placater. This is the family comforter, or otherwise known as the household social worker. It is this child who often tries to make others in the home feel better, as if he or she is responsible for whatever pain the family is experiencing. This youngster is extremely sensitive to other people's feelings and does what he or she has to lessen the intensity of pain within the home. The placater is a good listener, taking away mom's sadness, brother's fear, and sister's embarrassment, and dad's anger. We can easily find value in all these role characteristics and typically don't see them as destructive. In fact, labeling children with words such as responsible, caring, and able to adjust to a crisis allows them as adults to pat them on the back, right? For having been such good survivors. The survival mechanism of those who look good often lead to unhealthy extremes, such as unusual development of coping behavior often results in emotional and psychological defects. So it's actually suppressing what they how they grow into a mature adult.
I see a lot of these, like the kids had multiple traits, just depending on the day.
Yeah.
There was times where Amos was the peacemaker, or where he would help me and be responsible, or he would act out. They all had variations of all of these.
So it is the understanding of such defects that allows one to understand how survivors end up living out family scripts. It is this family script that draws them into behaving addictively themselves, marrying someone or who becomes an addict, or having an unusual number of problems in their adult years. So while most children react to the turmoil in their lives in a way that doesn't draw negative attention to them or their family members, a small number of them find ways to say loudly that something is very wrong. Metaphorically and literally, they walk through their adolescence and often adult years with their fist clenched and raised, with a finger protruding, saying, "There is something very wrong in my life, and you are going to notice me." So instead of behaving in a manner that actually brings great stability into their lives, or at least one that does not add to the turmoil, acting out children, the fourth common role, often display delinquent, problematic behaviors. Their behavior more adequately typifies the true state of the family.
Amanda says, I can't believe this is so on point with my older kids. Then the twins blow it all. She loves them too. Adrian's more or less the adjuster. Desmond just sends his grandkids home.
Get out of here. All right. So as you read further, do not be locked into the labels of these roles. There are many possible adjectives that may have more meaning for you. Common terms may be hero, scapegoat, comic, wallflower, scorekeeper, peacemaker, and so on. What is most crucial is to ascertain if you identify with any particular role, named by me or you, as part of responding to an addictive family, and to ultimately recognize both its strengths and vulnerabilities. Yeah, Josh, me too, bro. So now we have the choice. That was kind of just a cap on those four roles. It actually goes deeper into the responsible child. It goes deeper into the adjuster, the placater, and the acting out child. We can go deep into these Sunday night, or we can move on to family rules. Don't talk, don't trust, don't feel. Your choice. I think it's kind of a lot to get through it. I just might break them each down. That's what I'll do. Never mind. I made the choice.
Executive decision.
I'm just going to go through, make them, and bust them out into notes and describe them the best I can in that. There's something else I want to show y'all. I'm going to do some screen sharing here. You guys know Amber, right?
We love Amber. Amber from Put the Shovel Down.
So this is Amber from Put the Shovel Down. She has started a video series. They cost a little bit of money. Let me screen share. And right here is the link. I'm going to put the link in the description so everybody can have a gander at it. At least click in there and least click in there and take a peek at this, y'all. But you go into here, she has an intro video to tell how she and her experience helps. So remember we talked about Amber. She has every certificate you can pretty much have to be a counselor. And she has her own facility. She runs her own group. She also does the YouTube channels, but she's now offering videos that you can go through, and it's actually a Recovery Academy courses. So you could go through here to the invisible intervention, help the decisions change, customize your recovery. She's got a whole library lit up. Well, you got to sign in to go to there. She has a blog, which I would highly suggest you get into. This is only another amazing resource for everybody. But I just suggest that the link will be in every one of the videos as well. But check out that link that I just provided. I'll provide it one more time. Jump in there and just take a peek and let us know what you think about it. Look around in there. You might find something that you like or need to help you. But it'll be like a video series, just your own, that you can work privately on your recovery. Or if you have a family member you need to help into recovery, Amber is legit. You've seen her on our show. We've been on her show. And the times that I'm on her show and we're actually talking back and forth, she starts saying some things and I'm like, man, I would definitely sit under this girl as a counselor.
She's amazing.
There's another counselor she reminds me of, and obviously it's my favorite counselor here locally, Rick Visser. The dude is a Jedi ninja, and she emulates a lot of the stuff that he says, a very caring, empathetic, but this is what you need to hear. And so I highly suggest Amber and her classes. So check it out. Click into there and you'll love it.
Yeah, Shuri, she does a lot of things with family members of addicts. She counsels addicts and then takes everything she learns and makes YouTube videos to help family members help people they love who are addicted.
Yep.
And she does a fabulous job.
Yeah, share it with your friends. Pass that link around.
Hey, Nicole.
Nicole's in the house?
Nicole's here.
Hey, Nicole.
Getting Nate out of the bath.
Get out of the bath, boy. Get your buns in there. Hey, what's up, Green Ad? Leave the wildlife alone, Merc. That booby trap was for you. All right on, everybody. I don't think the kids are hearing us. That's the second time I've knocked now, and nothing happened. Yeah, I've been trying to get him to sleep early, but he's fighting me all. Yeah, it's that time of year. It's the beginning of the school year. Whoa, Michael Teeter coming in with a big 2-0.
Michael Teeter coming in hot.
Dang, Mikey. Thank you. Appreciate that,
Mr.
brother.
Teeter.
Andrew, I still want to see some breakfast in bed. Right on. Thanks for stopping by, Nicole. Everybody check out Real Talk Recovery if you have not checked her out yet. Merc will drop that link if he hasn't already. I'm sure, unless Felice can beat him to it.
Nope.
I doubt it.
I just let him do it. I didn't even
But
try
jump over and so we got, there is more recovery than you guys could all handle. You know, we got so many resources out there. There's no reason anybody, I got that thing now. I feel like I need to look that way. There's no reason that anybody doesn't have support. You got Nicole and her whole thing set up. You got Amber and her private videos you guys can get into. You got us and the Zoom meetings. And recovery is there for everybody. So I'm glad.
And before we go, the merch is on the website.
Oh yeah, go check out our website too.
And they should anybody in Australia or UK or what else? Canada, you should be able to order too. But unfortunately, your shipping is pricey.
Yeah, UK, Australia, Canada, you guys are expensive to ship to.
Sorry. But we can ship it to you. But yeah, we got
Mark's
hoodies.
got your back.
Hoodies, hats. Yeah, I knew he did. Hoodies, hats, the t-shirts that we had on the other day, women's t-shirt, women's
Good night,
hat.
Josh.
All the things you could ask for.
Cool. All right. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen.
Oh, it's weird saying that without you guys.
I knocked.
I don't have the echo in my
We were
back here.
downstairs. We went to punch the punching bag.
Oh yeah, you guys were working out.
Yeah, Millie's getting her fit
We
on.
recover. Millie's getting her fit on.
Yeah.
Nice.
Abs and muscles.
Recover better together by staying safe, staying sane, staying strong, and staying sober. You're worth it. Good night, family. Love y'all.
Thanks, Mark. Yeah, get your merch.
Yeah, y'all get the merch. Remember, anybody that buys a shirt, a hoodie, a hat gets a free hour with Felice or I, or both of us. Your choice. 1 hour free for every shirt or hat bought. Cool. Private Zoom meeting just for y'all. All right, y'all. Until next time. And Michael Teeter, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate that 100%. Definitely goes to good use. We won't disappoint you. So until Sunday night, you guys do not put yourself in a high risk situation. Stay strong, work your program, and remember that we recover better together.